The Wizarding World of Harry Potter is one of the biggest draws to the Universal theme parks, and in some ways, it saved Universal from a bleak future and brought new life to the parks. When Hogsmeade opened in 2010, this revolutionary land was so successful that they quickly began making plans to expand the Wizarding World. Just 4 years later, in 2014, Diagon Alley opened up in Universal Studios and was met with an equal amount of enthusiasm. But this sparked a debate among Potterheads about which immersive land was better, Hogsmeade or Diagon Alley.
We're going to attempt to answer that question in today's video by ranking both Harry Potter lands on a number of different factors, and then at the end of the video, we're going to tally it all up and see which part of the Wizarding World takes the cake, or in this case, the cauldron cake.
We're going to start off with rides. Of course, we're talking about theme parks, and that's why people go to theme parks is to ride attractions. And I feel like there's a clear winner here just based off of the sheer numbers. Hogsmeade has 3 separate attractions, while Diagon Alley only has 1 ride. In Hogsmeade, there's Hagrid's, there's Forbidden Journey, and Flight of the Hippogriff, whereas in Diagon Alley, the only attraction that we have is Escape from Gringotts. So I feel like the fact that Hogsmeade has 3 times the rides as Diagon Alley makes it the clear winner in this category.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the category was stacked from the get-go because the category is rides, plural, with an S. So yeah, I think Hogsmeade has to win. But say that they were equal. Say that there was only 1 ride in Hogsmeade and, of course, the 1 ride that does exist in Diagon Alley. Hogsmeade has Hagrid's. And according to us, and according to a lot of people, Hagrid's is the best ride at the parks.
Yeah.
And in our opinion, it's probably the best ride in Central Florida, and it's the best ride that we've ever ridden anywhere. So yeah, definitely a clear winner for us over in Hogsmeade, but I don't think it's as big of a gap as possible. I would say I would give Hogsmeade a 10 because, like I said, it's the best. But then over in Diagon Alley, I love Gringotts, so probably something like an 8.5 or a 9. I'm going to say a 9.
Okay, so I was going to give Diagon Alley a 7 out of 10. Maybe that's a little harsh. But I was also only going to give Hogsmeade a 9 out of 10 because I feel like...
How dare you?
I feel like Forbidden Journey hasn't aged that well, and Flight of the Hippogriff is just a kiddie coaster.
Hagrid's, but okay, that's fair.
The next category is shops, and I'm going to try really hard not to be biased in this category, but my 2 favorite shops in the Wizarding World are both over in Diagon Alley, and that's the Weasley's Wizard Wheezes and Borgin & Burke's, which is back in Nocturne Alley. And the reason that I love both of these shops isn't necessarily for their merchandise, which they have awesome merchandise, but I love like the experience and the atmosphere in both of these areas. When you walk into the Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, it, like, you just are hit with all the fun and like the pranks and all the gag gifts that they have throughout the series, and it's just so much fun. And then in Borgin & Burke's, it's like a complete 180 from the Weasley's Wizard Wheezes because it's dark magic, but there's so many Easter eggs from this series. Like, they have the hand that Harry grabs.
It grabs him too.
Fair. And then they also have the vanishing cabinet that Draco puts the bird in, and if you're quiet, if it's not like super loud in there, you can actually hear the bird chirping. Over in Hogsmeade, the shops aren't quite as fun and magical, except for Honeyduke's, which is just a fantastic experience because you get to go to Honeyduke's and buy candy like they do in the series.
Yeah, so Honeyduke's has to be one of the coolest experiences in the Wizarding World. I mean, you've got the Weasley shop and then you've got Honeyduke's. Like, when I think about shops, those are the 2 that come to mind, and of course Ollivander's, but that's in both of them, so like,
right.
That's kind of like a wash.
Yeah.
But Honeyduke's is, being a foodie, it might just be my favorite shop.
That cauldron cake.
It's really close. Yeah, the cauldron cake's fantastic. My biggest complaint with Hogsmeade is it's just there's not many shops over there.
Yeah.
And the ones that you can find are really cramped. Like, they're small, it's hard to get around. On a busy day, it's just like, it's not any fun. And like, a lot of the things that you see over there, it's just a facade.
Right.
While in Diagon Alley, that's not the case. Like, you can pretty much walk into anything that you see. There's a few that, you know, it's just a facade, but there's so many more shops over in Diagon Alley. So for me, oh man, it's tough because of Honeydukes. Like if it wasn't for Honeydukes, I'd just be like, man, Hogsmeade's terrible. For shops, I would say I'll give Hogsmeade like a 6.5.
Okay.
I'm not going to be too harsh. And then for Diagon Alley, I'm going to have to give it like a 9 because it's perfect.
So I feel like we're on a really similar page here because I was also going to give Diagon Alley a 9 out of 10. And then for Hogsmeade, I was going to give it a 6 out of 10. I mean, nothing against it, but you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's just the crowds and how small they are.
The next category is going to be drinks. Let's think for a moment. Do they have butterbeer? Hogsmeade? Yes, it has butterbeer. Diagon Alley? Oh, also butterbeer. So for me, it's going to be a 10 for each of them. Anna, what do you give them? Oh, she gives them a 10. So we can go on to the next thing.
Okay, so after drinks, I guess we need to talk about food in both of these areas of the parks. And there are two main restaurants in the Wizarding World. Over in Hogsmeade, we have the Three Broomsticks.
Yep.
And then in Diagon Alley, there's the Leaky Cauldron. And if we're being honest here, those two restaurants are kind of a wash because their food is just so similar to each other.
Yeah, so they have different items.
Right.
But as far as like quality, taste, like just all together, it's very alike.
Yeah, I feel like you could give me like a plate of food from either one of those restaurants and I would immediately know it was from the Wizarding World, but I couldn't tell you exactly which restaurant it was from. So we're just gonna say that those two restaurants are a tie.
Yeah, and then as far as like outside of the main restaurants, the food that you can get, of course you can get butterbeer and the other drinks pretty much in both, but like over in Hogsmeade, there's not really anything else. There is, of course, the candy shop, Honeydukes, but then there's like one little snack cart where you can get like fresh fruit, things like that.
Yeah.
But over in Diagon Alley, you can get ice cream at Florian Fortescue's. You can also get like beef pasties over in the Hopping Pot.
Yeah.
So like there's like more options, I guess, in Diagon Alley. And in my opinion, ice cream is worth at least 2 points. So I'm going to go with another 9 for Diagon Alley. And then over in Hogsmeade, just because you can't get soft serve butterbeer ice cream to my knowledge, we're going to say a 7.
So I was going to give Diagon Alley an 8 out of 10. Nothing against it. It's just not my favorite food in the theme parks. And then I was going to give Hogsmeade a 6 out of 10.
Who hurt you?
It's fine. It's just there's so many places in the parks that I would pick before I ate at either of those restaurants. Now we're going to rank each land based on their shows, and both areas of the Wizarding World each have 2 separate stage shows. Over in Diagon Alley, you can find Celestina Warbeck and the Banshees, as well as the Tales of Beetle the Bard. And then over in Hogsmeade, they have the Triwizard Spirit Rally and the Frog Choir. We love all 4 of the shows, probably pretty equally, and I feel like as far as their production value goes, I feel like they're just kind of equal to each other.
Yeah, like I guess I agree with that. I definitely have a favorite of the 4, and that would be the Tales of Beetle the Bard. But some of you may be just like us, and it's one of those things where if you're walking through like Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade and the show starts, you just sort of stop and go like, hey, I like this. And like we do that almost every time. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
There's not one that we seek out to watch or anything like that. So yeah, I guess I would call those kind of a wash as well. There
is one show in the Wizarding World that I think absolutely takes the cake here, and that has to be the Hogwarts Light Show.
Yeah.
And I guess it's technically a series of shows because they have like some seasonal ones. They do like a dark arts one for Halloween, and then they have a Christmas special. But I think these shows are just absolutely fantastic. I don't think there's anything like anywhere in the parks that rivals these as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to give the shows over in Hogsmeade a 10 out of 10 because the light show is just
perfect.
It's perfect. It's absolutely my favorite. And then over in Diagon Alley, I'm going to give those a 6 out of 10.
Oh, you are being mean today. Yeah, I mean, Hogsmeade, there's not all of the shows are so good. Like,
Right.
my favorite's probably the Dark Arts show, but all of them are fantastic. So it definitely gets a 10 because it's Hogwarts. Like, it's the best. Over in Diagon Alley, I can't be as just harsh. I mean, maybe you count the dragon, like breathing fire. Is that a show? Because that's pretty cool. I'll give them like a 7.5. I can't be like, oh, you're not worth anything. Here's a 6. I'm gonna go with a 7.5.
The last area we're going to rank these on is overall atmosphere. And it kind of hurts my feelings a little bit to talk about this because over in Hogsmeade, Hogwarts Castle is perfection. Okay, it is everything that I could have ever imagined it could be. But
Nope. No buts.
in the same breath, Hogsmeade, like the village, is kind of miserable to be in. Like every time I walk through it, it's so crowded and there are always so many people in there that I feel claustrophobic and it's just kind of miserable.
Okay. It is smaller, but miserable is a little harsh. Like you're in a bad mood today.
Maybe I'm the one that needs the Slytherin robe.
You need like a cauldron cake or something.
Do you have one?
No.
But my feelings are kind of the exact opposite over in Diagon Alley. Like, I find myself just wanting to spend all day in that area of the park, and I specifically love how immersive it is. Like, you walk into Diagon Alley, and it's like you're just 100% immersed in the wizarding world.
So, like I said, yes, Hogsmeade is small.
Yeah.
But Hogsmeade is also like, I don't feel unimmersed there.
Yeah.
Like it feels, I mean, except for when you walk outside of the Three Broomsticks and there's a dinosaur roller coaster back there. But other than that, like it's really hard to know that you're in a theme park at that, like in either one of them. Like they're both fully immersive. I personally can't gripe about either one. I've talked about how they revolutionized theme parks. So I'm in a great mood.
So what are your rankings?
They both get a 10. You get boom 10 for Hogsmeade, boom 10 for Diagon Alley. Like there's no other way to do it.
Okay, so I agree for Diagon Alley. I'm also gonna give it a 10 out of 10. But for Hogsmeade,
I have scooted away.
I have to give it an 8 out of 10 just because I don't enjoy spending time in there, and I find myself like actively wanting to get out of that area of the parks.
So after we put all of these numbers into a fancy add-in machine, also known as a calculator, it turns out that Diagon Alley came in at 104.5, while Hogsmeade came in at 102.5, making Diagon Alley the winner by the smallest of margins. Both of them are fantastic. Like, I do want to say that. We would say that Diagon Alley... This makes sense because we've always said that Diagon Alley is like our favorite of the two places. It's really hard to say with Hogwarts being over in Islands and Hogsmeade, but this makes sense. Like this is how it should be. It's newer. They had more room and like more thought, I think, went into the layout. Like it just makes. It's just a better flow. Like, that's all I can really say about it.
I completely agree. Anytime somebody asks me this question, like, it hurts my heart to sit there and pick.
Yeah.
So it's easier to sit here and, like, rank them on the different categories.
And you sort of see where the differences are.
Exactly. Yeah. But in my heart of hearts, I feel like I knew that Diagon Alley was going to be the overall winner.
Yeah, I mean, even though you were in a bad mood during the rankings. All right, guys, that wraps up today's video. Leave us a comment in the comment section and let me know who peed in Anna's Cheerios. Hogsmeade deserves better.
If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. You can hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell notification so you get an alert every time we post a new video.
Thanks for watching. We have 2 dogs, so probably fun.